Welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the What Not app, and I'm going to give you guys my initial reactions, feelings, and impression of the app. If you haven't heard about the What Not app before, that's fine. I had heard about it in the past. I didn't really ever spend too much time researching about it, so I didn't really pay it much mind. Then I had heard the story about a grandma had passed away. She had a very comprehensive Pokemon card collection, all the way from first edition Shadowless base set all the way up to Skyridge. So she had every card imaginable. Error cards, you name it, she had it. So what they decided to do was send away, one of every card in a set for grade in the PSA. So me personally, I've been going after Skyridge for a while. There's a lot of holes in my collection, not just because it's hard to pick up those cards, it's just hard sometimes to find them. And think about Skyridge. It's got 144 cards, not including crystals, and then you got duplicates of each, plus I think it's like 32 hollows. So all in all, you're talking about well over 300 cards, between commons, uncommons, rares, and then reverses for all, and then the hollows. So it's a big set. So it's almost impossible. Very low pops for a lot of these cards. So I got excited. There was auctions coming up where there was going to be one of every single card in that set of every variant. So I was excited. So I downloaded the app. I started watching some of the auctions, and for 100% transparency, in no way am I sponsored by Whatnot, and I did purchase some cards on there, but at the same time, I need to warn you guys about some of the stuff that I've seen on this app. So, all in all, my initial impressions of the app, I was pretty impressed. So, more or less what the app is, imagine real-time eBay auctions. They go for about a minute. The auctions are real-time. The host is showing the card. There's two different type of auction styles. There's a regular style auction where with the final bid, there's 10 seconds increases until eventually the time runs out on the minute auctions. Then they have another type of auction where as soon as it hits 0, the auction's over. So, I found these auctions interesting, and I wanted to watch a few of them happen before I made any kind of purchases. I was able to pick up some cards that I thought were extremely undervalued, being what they were, mainly being reverse hollows for Skyridge, for under $100 at either a PSA 9 or PSA 10. Thought it was a great deal. And, as I was watching this auction, I could see a lot of good deals. But the problem is, as I was starting to watch the auctions, and I was starting to see a lot of cards go for well over what I thought was a realistic price for a lot of these cards. And the problem is I was watching a lot of people buy them. Now we're running into an issue here because the Whatnot app is being sponsored by a lot of pretty big name PokeTubers, a lot of people that are, very big names in the hobby, very well trusted, very well respected, and I'm watching some of the prices these cards are going for, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of undervalued cards that sold. But I'm also watching as a lot of cards, like I said, are selling for very high, prices that don't really make sense. And when I say the prices don't make sense, is because they're selling for so much more than the same exact card on eBay at the same exact grade that you can buy at a buy it now price on eBay. And I got to be very clear too. eBay, there's been plenty of times in my life where I've seen cards sell on eBay for well over market value, prices that don't make sense at all, and you've never seen me make a rant video about eBay talking about how some people, will pay more for an auction than they will for buy it now prices. I know that exists. I'm sure you guys know that exists. But the cards I was watching, I didn't track a lot. I just would come in and out of the app. I'd watch the auctions as they were coming real time, trying to look for good deals. And I'm very patient. I have, no reason that I have to force myself to buy any cards. But there was two cards that really stuck out to me. And I think the reason they stuck out to me is because they've been on my radar for a while. One was a Gem Mint 10 Reverse Hollow Gyarados from Skyridge. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the Gyarados from Skyridge. Beautiful artwork. You got, Gyarados, a dragon coming out of the fire. This is definitely one of the best Gyarados artworks that exists on the market. But I've had this exact card, Gyarados Reverse Hollow Gem Mint 10 from Skyridge, on my eBay watch list for well over 60 days. And TCA Gaming has had this card for sale at $799 for a very long time. And it's been on my watch list, and I'm going to throw up a screenshot I took of my actual watch list, and you're going to see it's on there at $799. Now, TCA has had this card on for so long that because I've been watching this, he has sent me an offer, just like you can send out the mass offers on eBay, for $719. I got an offer for this card for. I passed, and anybody else who was watching that card also passed because, that offer came and went, and it's still at $799. So that's fine. Now, the exact same card, Gyarados Reverse Hollow Gem Mint 10, went up for sale on Whatnot on a 1-minute auction, and it sold for $1,202. That is a difference of $403 for the same exact card, the same exact grade that they could have bought on eBay for the last couple months that has just been sitting there. This card has not sold, but it sold for a difference of $403. That is a lot of money difference. And trust me, it's not for me to tell people what to pay, but I just want you guys to understand, I think there's some good deals on Whatnot, and I think you can find those deals. But to pay $403 over the highest price for this card that's been sitting for months on eBay at Buy It Now, and if you went on to eBay right now after this video, you would still see that same card at $799. But yet for a 1-minute auction on Whatnot, somebody paid $1,202. And these weren't even the worst, examples out there. These are just ones that came to my mind that I was familiar with a card that already exists at a Buy It Now price. And then another card that came out was a Mint 9 Crystal Lugia from Aquapolis. Listen, I think the Crystal Lugia is a very undervalued card for being a Lugia, for being the first crystals. You think about what the Skyridge Crystal Charizard has done recently. You think about just Lugia in general, what it's doing for the Neo Genesis and first edition. Lugia has the potential to really give Charizard a run for its money in the future. The Crystal Charizard's good. Gem Mint 9, I always him and haw if you're going to go for these real high dollar amount cards, because these are always the top of the line for sets. You're going to go after the Crystal Charizard for Skyridge. You're going to go after the best card in the set. You're going to go after the Crystal Lugia in Aquapolis. You're going to go after the best card in the set. I always struggle with people going after 9s at these what I consider higher prices when a few months ago or a few years ago you could have got gem mints of these cards for much less. So I've always struggled with this just personally, but that's not here nor there. So right now you can go on eBay, buy a Mint 9 Crystal Lugia from Aquapolis on eBay, buy it now, $3,079. It's been there for a while. Hasn't moved. The 1-minute auction on Whatnot for this same exact card, a Mint 9 Crystal Lugia from Aquapolis, sold for $3,725. That's a difference of $646. Now, This is where I struggle with it, right? Because these cards, there's not a lot of them on the market. So to have picked them up on eBay, and as you guys understand with eBay, I don't really have to explain it. But a lot of buy it now auctions are usually priced on the high end of the market because people don't have a reason to flip these cards real fast. They can sit on them. There's no reason. It's not like starting a penny auction on eBay and hoping things go up. A lot of these cards are sitting there because people are asking on the high end of what they're worth. And they're fine with sitting on them forever. But to see these cards sell, for differences, like I said, of $403 and a difference of $646, I do struggle internally with just, why wouldn't somebody just close out the Whatnot app, go over to eBay, and just do the buy it now and save yourself so much money? In this hobby, you can buy a lot for $403. You can buy a lot for $646. Why are you paying that much more for these cards unless it is like the excitement or whatever for these people? And I'm just nervous. And again, I'm going to say it. I already said it earlier in the video, but I'll say it again. There's a lot of good values on this. I think a lot of the people who are involved in Whatnot have the right intentions. But what I'm worried about is I did see a few comments go in the chat. If you guys are not familiar with Whatnot, I still suggest downloading the app and just getting familiar with it. Maybe you'll like it. But so the chat, continues to go. Very similar to like a live stream on YouTube. It's a very small population of people watching these auctions, which I'm surprised how much money is going through. And the hosts read the chat all the time. They almost 100% of the time, actually, it is close to 100% of the time, I've never seen them actually read one of the comments that mentions any eBay pricing. And that makes sense, right? If you're going to have a Whatnot app and you're going to be selling cards, the last thing you would want to do is talk about a comment that has your largest competitor. But I do get worried that the people running these auctions are very intelligent. They didn't get to where they were in the Pokemon hobby by overpaying for cards. Hopefully you didn't get to where you are in this hobby by overpaying for cards. That's the worst thing you can do in this hobby. And, the one bit of advice I can give anyone is don't overpay for cards if you don't have to. Don't get me wrong. There comes times in this hobby where a card will come up that's extremely low pop, extremely hard to find. It's something you've been waiting for. It's something you're passionate about. And maybe you'll pay a little bit over to get that card. And that's fine. That's always been a part of this hobby. It's probably never going to change. But where I do struggle is when you go out and you spend tons of extra money for a card that you can just go on eBay and buy the same exact card graded by PSA at the same grade for a substantially, lower amount of money. And what I'm worried about is a lot of the people that are sponsoring Whatnot app are not saying this stuff. Or maybe they are, and I just haven't heard them say it. But I haven't really heard them during the live stream saying things like, be careful, you're overpaying for this card. What I've heard a lot of the hosts saying is, wow, that's a good deal. This is a hot card. This card definitely has a lot of potential. I'm hearing them say a lot of those type of words, which listening to them speak without knowing what the card was on the screen. There's a lot of, like PokeTubers out there where a lot of people are very cautious of, and a lot of PokeTubers out there, a lot of attention has been brought to them because a lot of people consider them scammers. I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm sure you guys can think. And those PokeTubers that people are very harsh on, that talk about cards' inflated values, talking about people getting good deals, talking about stuff like this. Those PokeTubers are scammers in a way. Now, if I were to just take the sound bits from these whatnot auctions and just overlay the sound onto a lot of these, scammer-s PokeTubers, the sound would be very similar, which is just scary. I just had a weird feeling. And for transparency, I did buy some cards on Whatnot because I thought they were good deals. And I know I didn't overpay for any of the cards I purchased. And I know the ones I got were low price. But like I said, some of the wording that some of these hosts are using is just very dangerous and very reminiscent of a lot of those scammer type PokeTubers. And for me to sit here, have a card in front of me and tell you, oh, this is a good deal, this is a hot card, this is a rare card, all these things. And don't get me wrong, the sets I'm talking about are Sky Ridge and Aquapolis. Those are the two auctions that really went on right before this video was recorded. Those are very rare cards. They are hot sets. But the prices that they were excited for are nerve-wracking to me. And they're nerve-wracking to me because I want to know why people are paying these high dollar amounts. And, I reached out to one of the people who I haven't had much dealings with. What I've understood about him, and he's commented on my channel before. He's made a lot of purchases on their app. I reached out to him, and I wanted to ask him some questions, but I decided to pull back a little bit because I don't want to feel like I'm attacking anyone, right? Because that's not the point of this channel. But I do want to understand, if you're going to spend a lot of extra money, it's your money at the end of the day. It's not my money. And I can never be the one to tell you how to spend your money or be smart with your money or anything like this. But I got to ask the question, why are you paying so much over for a car that you can just go on eBay and buy it now? And I don't know if some of that is, people don't care and they just have a ton of money and they love the app and maybe they love the host and stuff. But again, that argument is scary because it's reminiscent of a lot of these scammer PokeTubers where, somebody will buy a pack from them and pay an inflated amount. And you hear the person buying this pack saying, well, I'm supporting the PokeTuber. Those are dangerous things. I'm just warning you guys from what I'm seeing. But I'm not totally shitting on this app either, and I don't want you to take that. I just want to give you guys caution on what I'm seeing, because I've already mentioned I've seen a lot of auctions on eBay that people well overpaid for cards, especially in the last year. We saw that rampant. But now the problem is with the Whatnot app I'm seeing is it's not a huge pool of buyers watching these auctions. For the Slabathon, which all these cards are currently being showcased in, it's every night for the month of May at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys could go on and look at these auctions yourself and, see what the cards are selling for and what cards in the sets. But I'm worried because I would have thought with a very small group of people, 100 people looking at these auctions real time, there's a lot of money still being thrown out for a very small amount of viewers. When you got 100 viewers watching and you have, thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of card sales, and not every, one of those 100 people are bidding on cards, it throws up some red flags for me. And I don't want to say that there's any type of shill bidding happening, but it does feel a little bit like shill bidding. And I'm not saying that this is happening. I'm just telling you what my feeling is and what my gut reaction for some of these auctions are. And, one of the reasons is they, like I said, they have the two different type of auctions. But the one type of auction, which is just sudden death, it's a 1 minute timer. Once it hits 0, that card sells at whatever price it is. With those type of auctions, normally you would expect for the price of that card to not have a ton of bidding action at the beginning of the auction. And eventually, at the end of the auction is when you would see all the action when people are trying the race. But I'm not seeing that. What I'm seeing is, and I was watching very carefully because I wanted to not just make tons of conclusions without any type of realistic watching. I've spent hours on my phone. First of all, if you watch this app on your phone gets very hot, and I don't know why that is. But I watched 3 hours of auctions. And every time one of these sudden death auctions would happen, the bidding action at the very beginning of the auction constantly were the same exact names, quickly, jacking up the price for a lot of these cards. And the people who were doing that bidding never were the ones who ended up buying that card. And that could be a multitude of reasons. Some people just say, you know what? Maybe I'll bid $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 on a $1,000 card because maybe the app will crash and I'll get super lucky. Sure, maybe that makes sense. Whatever. But I never once, did an early bid on any of these auctions. I would always wait, to get my final bid in because I would want to win that card at the lowest possible price. So why would I want to, jack up the price of a card that I'm trying to get for very cheap? So it's just I have to rack my brain around it a little bit. It's hard to understand. Why would somebody want to jack up these prices? And like I said, when you see a lot of the same names bidding at those very early stages and then seeing those names drop off at the end of the auction, it's a little nerve-wracking. I'm not saying that's what's happening at all. I feel like a lot of you guys have to go out there and watch these auctions yourselves, make your own decisions, learn the app, figure out why somebody would be doing that. And I'm sure there's a good reason behind it. And I'm sure you guys let me know down in the comments. I don't want you to be defensive. I know there's a lot of people out there like Whatnot. And like I said, I did buy cards on there. I bought a few Skyrich cards. But it's still nerve-wracking. So I just want everybody out there to be very careful. Then, another thing that made me a little nervous is I was familiar with some of the people that, were auctioneers behind the microphone, behind the camera, who were talking. But there was one person, and I don't know who it was. It wasn't anybody that I was super familiar with. But he had said a very weird comment. He talked about Neo Genesis prices that he had sold some packs at 10 years ago. I am familiar with what Neo Genesis First Edition were selling at 10 years ago. And I'm just going to let you know that the prices he quoted per pack, I could have misunderstood it. I didn't record this conversation. I might have misunderstood him, so there's always that big caveat. But the price he had mentioned selling something at 10 years ago, unless I misunderstood the timeline and he didn't say 10 years ago, but I'm pretty sure I know what I heard. The prices he quoted for that product were not right. And the only time I've really heard people talk like that, where they've talked about prices in the past and been so far off the mark, is when they're lying. And I'm not saying this person was lying. This is where I see, I talk what I see and what I hear. And I'm not trying to, throw people under the bus or whatever. And I'm going to tell you right now, I might have misunderstood him. But the price he quoted for Neo Genesis First Edition packs 10 years ago seemed to be very far off the mark for me. And it just makes me wonder, too. Who are some of the people running these really big auctions? A lot of these people have a ton of experience. The fact that nobody heard him say that and nobody really questioned the dollar amount, because you know what? He might have just misspoke. It could have been that simple. You confused it for maybe a different set or a different pack, maybe. But I don't know. I get weird feelings sometimes. And then, so that's just with the Slabathon. That was the reason I went to the app. That was the reason I wanted to check everything out. So then I went to the other type of auctions. And some of the other type of auctions, I'd come in and out of the app. There's pretty much live auctions going on, what seems to be 24 hours a day. I would go into some of the auctions. Again, very few amount of people watching these auctions. I'm talking some auctions, like real-time live auctions, would have 20 or less people. And I would look at, mainly the vintage stuff. I don't really care about the modern stuff. There's plenty of Shining Fates packs open, battle styles. First of all, the packs are selling for what I consider just such a high premium, but that's modern. So I would go look at some of these vintage cards. And as you guys know with vintage cards, the big issue with vintage is 3 words. Is condition, condition, condition. And a lot of these cards had a ton of condition issues because for a lot of these auctions, they weren't graded cards. Yes, the Slabathon auctions are all graded cards. But some of these other ones, for these vintage cards they were showing, they're pretty good at showing off the damage to the camera. You might as well put your phone on mute because of the way they talk about the condition for these cards. But there's tons of obvious issues. And I was like, okay, you can pick up some of these vintage cards that, maybe instead of Scholar and eBay, you can maybe get a good deal. No. These cards were still selling well above market value. And that's with 15, 20 people watching these auctions. So I just don't know who's bidding. Don't know who's buying these cards. Who's buying commons, uncommons, non-holo rares of extremely damaged cards at sometimes quadruple market prices? I just don't know. It just makes me nervous. I don't want to see anybody spending money, but then again, I think, why are people doing this? Why are they spending so much more on some of these cards? And again, I'll say it again because I know the comment section might try to rip me apart. But there are good deals on this app. There are good deals. I saw some really good deals. Some cards that I thought sold for great prices. And the people that bought them got great deals. There's a lot of good deals. But I'm just worried about the cards that are selling for so much over market value. And I don't have a perfect answer. But I'm nervous. Because I do think that this app has a pretty big future. I think we'll see it. I think it's still in a beta phase. And eventually it's going to get out of that. And I think more traction is going to come to the app. More people are going to find out about it. But a lot of the things I do and a lot of the people I interact with, a lot of people I talk to, a lot of the people who I surround myself with in this hobby, not just on this channel, but in my life in general, they're not undereducated buyers, collectors, investors. They all understand, the inner workings of the market pretty well. They understand good deals. They understand bad deals. They understand it because they've all made poor decisions at some point. Trust me, there's a lot of times I bought cards in the past that were poor decisions that didn't work out very well for me. Yeah, fast forward to 2020 being just the magical year where everybody who ever made a bad decision in their life, ended up being a good decision. But trust me, looking at the past, we've all made poor decisions, and that's fine. But what I don't ever see is these type of poor decisions happening at such high dollar amounts because the cards and the sets and the niches that these cards exist in is a small niche. You know, for me, when I think of Skyridge and Aquapolis, like, I don't instantly think, oh yeah, new collectors. Those are the only people that buy Skyridge and Aquapolis. New collectors, new people entering the hobby, people that, you know, are going after Shining Fates Charizards. Like, that's not the person I think about. So when I see like crazy high prices, I struggle with who the buyers are. And I'm not trying to like go after anyone or say mean things, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just curious. I want to know. Like, I want to like talk to these people. I want to find out. I want to make sure that there's no shady stuff going on. And like I said, a lot of the people right now that are supporting the Whatnot app are very respectable, a lot of them, you know? Like Super Duper Danny was one of the auction hosts. You got Pokemon Radar in there. I know Real Breakin' Nate is going to come on. He's going to do a special guest host where he's just going to do like Pokemon vintage toys. Like, there's some big names, like some real respectable people in the hobby that have been around for a lot and who I believe have good intentions. And then there's other people that I'm not super familiar with. Some of the lower names, or not lower names, but less well-known names, but still very well respected. And, you know, at the end of the day, for some of these people, Pokemon is a business, and that's fine. But they're not the type of people who I would think would take advantage of undereducated collectors and investors. I like to think that these are the type of people that would want to do their best to educate the, you know, collector and investor, and have these people spend their money in the right way, because this hobby does not grow if people are making poor financial decisions in this hobby. That's, you know, one of the reasons this channel exists. I don't ever want to see people get taken advantage of or making bad decisions. And I just really, really struggle when you can go on eBay and buy a card that's been sitting there for months. You know, for months and months and months, that have already been on buy it nows for 30 days and have already lapsed. They've already lapsed, meaning they're on the second 30-day buy it now. You know, some of these cards, almost 60 days, have been sitting on the market at these prices, and no one wants to touch them. But then you have a 1-minute auction and somebody buys them. It's just scary. I don't know, guys. That's my initial feelings. Those are my initial gut reactions. I'm not shitting on this app. I'm not saying it's a bad app. I'm not saying I don't see a future for it. I'm just saying, if you do decide to go on there, be smart. You know, use your head. Don't use your gut. Don't get caught up in like the bidding action, you know? Don't make bad decisions. Never make bad decisions in this hobby. The money that you're spending is your money. It's not my money. You've worked hard for your money. Make your money work for you. But hey, listen, I understand I went off on a long rant, but this is a rant I had to have. I do recommend you guys go out, download the app, make the decision for yourself. You know, figure out what's going on. Let me know what your thoughts are. But listen, if you heard me rant for this long and you have not subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, go down below, hit that subscribe button. Other than that, hit the like button. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.